Brittney Griner thought she could get away with her controversial comments about Caitlin Clark, but Indiana Governor Braun just dropped a bombshell that's left the entire WNBA scrambling. The league investigated false claims against Fever fans, while ignoring legitimate concerns about Griner's viral video. Now, political pressure is mounting, and heads may soon roll. Does the WNBA's double standard in handling investigations show a clear bias against Caitlin Clark and her fanbase? Well, look who's suddenly feeling the heat now that someone with actual authority has stepped in to call out the league's blatant inconsistencies. Griner had been sitting comfortably, assuming her remarks would blow over, just like they often do in a league that seems to shield certain players at all costs. But Governor Braun just threw a massive wrench into that plan, and the fallout promises to be nothing short of spectacular. Let's break down exactly what happened, because this story has more layers than a wedding cake and twice as much drama.
She accused the Indiana Fever fan base of being racist. They investigated it. They said those accusations were false. The least that she could do is apologize to our great state and the fans that show up at these games and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Obviously, she's not going to do that. But also, Dan, why isn't the Indiana Fever apologizing to their own fan base for putting them through that, for going through those types of accusations? I mean, those are awful accusations. They weren't true. The fans weren't shouting racial slurs toward Angel Reese or opposing players. I mean, where is Caitlin Clark? Where is the Indiana Fever? Where is the WNBA saying that investigation there shouldn't have been an investigation? The allegations were false. Where's the apology? It hasn't happened. It's disappointing. As someone who is, my daughters are fans of the team. They've gone to games to see Caitlin Clark. It's so demeaning to our state and to the fan base to go through something like that. The least they can.
The WNBA spent time and resources investigating completely fabricated claims that Fever fans made hateful comments toward Angel Reese after the Sky were blown out by 30 points. These accusations were so clearly false that even the league had to admit they were unsubstantiated. But here's where it gets really interesting. The league rushed to investigate phantom racism directed at Reese, while completely ignoring a viral video of Brittney Griner that has millions convinced she referred to Caitlin Clark as trash and a fucking white girl.
Everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are. Definitely will be speaking up against that legislation and those laws that are trying to be passed, for sure.
The hypocrisy is so blatant, it's actually painful to watch. The WNBA will investigate invisible hate speech that doesn't exist, but when there's actual video evidence of potentially problematic behavior from one of their protected players, they suddenly develop selective hearing and vision. It's like they have a special superpower that only detects discrimination when it fits their preferred narrative. Governor Braun saw right through this nonsense and called it out in the most diplomatic way possible when he said, I think if there was some look into what Angel Reese did, I think it would be good to put that to rest as well. He wasn't just making a casual suggestion, he was putting the WNBA on notice that their bias isn't going unnoticed by people who actually have the power to do something about it.
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are the best gift that the WNBA has ever had. I mean, and the fans that show up and pack that place, I mean, sell out crowds every time Caitlin Clark plays. It's so great for Indiana, but it's good for the WNBA. But how dare you accuse our fans, the Hoosiers that show up at these games, being racist when they're not? I mean, that was a opposing player who hates Caitlin Clark. Frankly, it's a great rivalry for the teams and for the sport. But don't accuse our fans of being racist. I mean, that's the kind of garbage that gets thrown around all the time. It wasn't true. The investigation proved it. And there was no outcome of it. There was no apology. Apologize to the fans. I mean, that's a simple thing to do. And I wish the team would have been more emphatic about that. Stand up, stick up for your fan base. I mean, that's who's keeping you alive. So maybe they'll still do that. I don't know. I mean, I tweeted that Angel Reese should apologize, and my tweet got a lot of reactions. But
the WNBA's double standard is finally catching up with them, and Governor Braun just changed the game. The hypocrisy has become so blatant, it's painful to watch. The WNBA will rush to investigate hate speech that doesn't exist, but when there's actual video evidence of potentially problematic behavior from one of their protected players, Suddenly, they go blind and deaf. It's as if they have a special superpower that only detects discrimination when it fits their preferred narrative. Governor Braun saw through the nonsense and called it out in the most diplomatic way possible when he said, "I think if there was some look into what Angel Reese did, I think it would be good to put that to rest as well." That wasn't just a casual comment, it was a warning shot. It signaled that the WNBA's bias isn't going unnoticed by people who actually have the power to hold them accountable. The governor made it crystal clear. He has zero tolerance for bigotry and bullying. He believes that when inappropriate or senseless comments are made, they should be addressed, no exceptions. Yet the WNBA only seems interested in accountability when it serves a political or public relations goal. Now let's talk about the viral Brittney Griner video that has everyone talking. In the footage, Griner appears to make comments that millions of viewers interpreted as calling Caitlin Clark trash and possibly using a racial slur. Her defenders insist she was criticizing the referees, not Clark, claiming she said it was a fudding whack call. But here's the thing. If the comments were obviously about the referees, why hasn't Griner clarified? Why hasn't the WNBA released a statement explaining the context? The silence is deafening, and it speaks volumes. Compare this to what happened when fake claims were made about Fever fans supposedly hurling hateful comments at Angel Reese after a 30-point blowout. The WNBA launched a full-blown investigation almost instantly, only to later admit those claims were unsubstantiated. Yet when there's actual video evidence of real comments, the league has nothing to say. That's not just inconsistency, it's a protected class system in action. Some players can do no wrong, while others are dissected for every facial expression, every turnover, every perceived slight. Caitlin Clark is scrutinized for simply existing, while Brittney Griner allegedly makes inflammatory comments on camera, and the league pretends it never happened. The timing of this controversy couldn't be more suspicious. The Fever had just destroyed the Sky even without Caitlin Clark on the court. The Sky got embarrassed, and suddenly, mysterious, hateful comments from Fever fans pop up out of nowhere. It's almost too convenient. The narrative quickly shifted. From a lopsided loss to unverified fan behavior, handing the WNBA a distraction that let them reframe Reese as a victim instead of a player who got thoroughly outplayed. But Governor Braun isn't playing those games. He knows what Caitlin Clark means to Indiana. She's filling Gainbridge Fieldhouse like an NBA franchise. She's reigniting passion for basketball at the high school and college levels. This isn't just about one player, it's about economic and cultural impact. His call for equal treatment isn't political theater, it's leadership. When Senator Jim Banks demanded an apology for Fever fans following the league's baseless investigation, and now Governor Braun is essentially backing that call, it's clear. The WNBA's double standard is under the microscope. These aren't random attention-seeking politicians. These are elected officials from Clark's home state, representing fans, voters, and economic stakeholders. The fact that government leaders are stepping in should be a massive wake-up call for the league. The WNBA's carefully crafted image as a champion of social justice is starting to crack. They love to talk about equality and fairness, but only when it benefits certain players. True equality means investigating all claims with the same urgency, applying the same standards across the board. Once this investigation begins, as Governor Braun is pushing for it, could blow the lid off years of biased decision-making and preferential treatment. Brittney Griner has never faced real accountability before. The WNBA has protected her through every controversy. But now, she might have to face public scrutiny that can't be spun away by league officials or media allies. This time, she can't hide behind her past struggles or personal narrative. This isn't about her background, this is about what she said on video. She can't play the victim card when the evidence is out there for everyone to see. The league is now stuck in an impossible position. If they ignore the Griner situation, they risk increasing political and public pressure. If they investigate it, they'll have to admit that their previous silence was biased and inappropriate. Either path damages the WNBA's credibility, and that's exactly what they deserve for creating this mess. Governor Braun's comments about embracing what Caitlin Clark has done for the league, instead of diminishing her, perfectly capture the absurdity of the situation. Clark has brought more attention, more revenue, and more excitement to women's basketball than any player in history. And yet, she's treated like a problem by the very institution she's revitalized. This controversy has now outgrown basketball. When governors and senators start stepping in, it means there are real-world consequences at stake. The WNBA can't just wait for this to blow over. The days of sweeping things under the rug are over. And here's the most satisfying part. WNBA's entire narrative is unraveling in real time. They tried to diminish Clark's impact while propping up others, creating a system that was never sustainable. Now that system is being exposed for what it is, a protection racket for favored players. Governor Braun's reminder that Indiana is the basketball state and Clark is in the right state says it all. This isn't just about a player. It's about pride, economics, fairness, and integrity. The WNBA is learning, the hard way, what happens when you alienate the very people and communities keeping your league relevant. Brittney Griner is about to find out what real accountability feels like. And for the WNBA, this might just be the beginning of a reckoning they never saw coming.